Welcome to the Captain's Log with me, Captain Christina Zamora from blogtrek.net. The Captain's Log is a podcast where I document my day and style it like a Star Trek episode. If you enjoyed the podcast, check out blogtrek.net where I have pictures, stories, and more. I hope you like this subspace transmission. Captain's Log, Stardate 08082021.8. We were on the edge of Federation space, observing the Cordova Nebula, when we detected a previously unknown planet within the nebula. Current scientific understanding of nebulas seemed to indicate that planets shouldn't be able to form within nebulas. Looking to further learn about the planet, our crew took a shuttlecraft to this Class Y type planet to explore. Once on the surface, Chief Engineer Noah found himself ensnared in some rather large spider webbing. I ran over to free Noah when I realized that my first officer, Bella, was missing. In the distance, I heard faint screams for assistance. Noah and I ran over to find Bella, only to find that she had also been ensnared by a rather large spider webbing prevalent on the planet. As I set Bella free, I heard a loud rumbling in the distance. I looked over to see, and seeing a shape of what I could only describe as a large arachnid, I alerted my crew, and we began to flee using a large vine to swing across the large chasm in an attempt to escape. As captain, I was resolved to allow my crewmen to cross ahead of me despite my fear. The large arachnid got even closer as I watched my crew cross one at a time. I could hear the footsteps closing to within a few meters of my position when I was finally able to swing across. Our tricorders were having trouble determining the location of our shuttlecraft. My chief engineer had to go up to a high point on the planet in order to amplify our signal. Shortly thereafter, our scanners began to function properly, and we made our way back to the shuttlecraft and left the planet. Back on the ship, I received a subspace communication from Captain Cassandra. It was her birthday, and wanted to rendezvous at Starbase 223 to celebrate the occasion. I was a bit reluctant, given that we don't talk much, nor do we have much in common. I attempted to ascertain who else would be showing up for her birthday, and realized that her only other friend, Pam, wasn't going to be there. With a bit of hesitation, I agreed to treat her for her birthday. I usually enjoy talking with other people in order to get their unique perspective on life. Cassandra is still a bit young and possibly developmentally delayed, and I found myself trying to comfort her about the loss of her dad and sister. I may have been a tad too playful at moments because of the tangential nature of conversing with her. One moment we're talking about her dad. The next moment, she's remarking about some guy at the bar, and another moment about my kids in the span of a minute or so. Soon enough, the Starbase promenade closes, and I send her back via shuttlecraft to her ship. I send out a subspace communication to Captain Eric, and we talk at length. The conversation started out great. He finally was a lot more straightforward with me. The conversation lasted nearly 4 hours. Our interactions always have the same trajectory. It starts out so well and slowly devolves. He's incredibly smart, but seems to use what he knows to both teach and purposely hurt me. It's almost ironic because the way he carries himself, you wouldn't think there's much to him at all. I have to remember to keep my distance from him because he can easily outmaneuver me. Yet, I almost feel compelled to meet him in person. I know it can't work, and there would be nothing accomplished. My instinct says don't, and I'm inclined to listen to that as he scares me. I don't know if I'll be able to resist, and that scares me. One thing I can say I've learned being out here as captain of my own ship is that I have far less control than I used to believe. I touched on this during a previous entry, but I feel like I'm piloting a sailboat across the ocean. I used to think that having an in depth understanding of the ocean and the boat would ensure a successful voyage across the sea. Now, I realize that I'm at the mercy of forces much stronger and much more complex than I first anticipated. The ocean and wind function at a level that a mere sailor can't possibly fully understand, much less hope to control. I find myself being moved about in a seemingly random direction. I've resolved to do my best to make course adjustments, and I hope it is sufficient to get me to my final destination, a place I'm not even sure exists. And as I proceed further along into the ocean, I feel like it has a mind of its own. Sometimes it seems like it's upset at me for even daring to sail on it. At other times, it seems to provide a beautiful current and view that hardens me during choppy waters. And this is the conclusion of this episode. Thank you for joining me.